Hey there, people. I hope everyone's week is going well. It's the middle of my week as I record this, so you all know what that means. It's naked time. Oh, wait, wrong platform. Sorry, I was thinking of my other channel. My bad. No, on this channel it's the time I go over the week's events and pick out some shit that seemed mildly interesting. The segment I call This Week in Pop Culture. We had a few interesting developments this week for sure. We had Joss Whedon putting his foot in his mouth, Ray Fisher popping back up to toss around accusations, Nezuko causing morons on twatter to cry, Amazon's Lord of the Rings, in quotes, trailer dropping, Book of Boba Fett causing paroxysms of laughter, sad, sad laughter, another celebrity death. Yeah, it's been a fun week all around, right? So let's jump right into the ball pit with the rest of the clowns, shall we? The first story of the week, coming from Monday, is about that bastion of feminine power, that paragon of nerd culture, Joss Whedon. Apparently, he recently did a lengthy article with New York Magazine, finally trying to answer the many allegations against him from multiple fronts. From current stars like Ray Fisher and Gal Gadot, to past ones such as Charisma Carpenter and Michelle Trachtenberg. I honestly didn't read it, but I believe this New York Post article does a decent job of breaking it down into its relevant pieces. I also watched the video Clownfish TV did. I have to admit that I, like many my age, was all aboard the Joss train for many years. At least after watching Firefly. Well, Serenity, then Firefly. I was one of the many people who watched the movie first, then came to the series after the fact. You know, because Fox sucks. I didn't actually watch Buffy or Angel till well after their runs were over. I can't remember when or where I fell off the Joss train. I just remember I was reading some shit about what a jackass he is, and this was well before any of this other shit came up. Mostly like how he complained for years that the Kuzuis had ruined his initial movie script for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then I read the actual script, and it really wasn't that different. A couple of different scenes, added lines, mostly intact though. Or how he cried about alien resurrection. That was just a shit movie. Grow the fuck up. Anyway, Joss basically answered the allegations by saying that he doesn't ever remember being mean to anyone, particularly to Charisma, the interactions of which he described as, quote, delightful and charming. He then went on to praise her acting and delivery. He said nothing about Michelle Trachtenberg that this article brings up. He may have in the original interview. As to his multiple affairs, he stated that because he was a nerd growing up, being surrounded by all those beautiful women made him feel, quote, powerless to resist putting his dick inside them. Just as an aside, growing up being one of those nerdy kids myself, knowing that girls who looked like that would never go anywhere near me in my younger years, I can kind of understand where he's coming from. The difference between he and I, though, is that he was married at the time. You could probably argue that whole power dynamic thing, I suppose, too. To me, though, his biggest sin was fucking around on his old lady. You just don't do it. He also answered to the allegations brought against him by Fisher and Gadot by stating that Fisher is a prima donna and Gadot doesn't understand English. The problem with the latter is that Gadot is multilingual, so she probably understands more than you do, Whedon, and she understands perfectly well you're a dick, in multiple languages. The Ray Fisher stuff is the shit that gets to me, simply because this motherfucker is just sitting there tossing around that racist shit and never once backing it up. Not a single fucking time has this dude come with any sort of receipts or anything. Just, believe me, bro. No, not with that word. Not anymore. I mean, he's sitting there calling Jeff Johns a racist, and that dude's got a fucking black wife. I mean, seriously? Maybe before that was a go-to accusation for basically everybody to toss around, I might have been more inclined to take you on your word. Now? No. So, I actually do believe Whedon when he calls Fisher a prima donna, and says he's a bad actor. However, I also believe Fisher when he says Whedon's an asshole. I just don't believe he's a racist asshole. Especially when he was never just targeting your crybaby ass Cry-borg. For the next story, we're going to good old dependable bounding into comics, mostly because this particular story happened over social media. So, by now, we've all seen this hot mess of a cosplay, right? The still image for the new Batgirl show with Leslie Grace in her Batgirl suit for the film. Yeah, it looks like trash. It looked like trash in the New 52 comics when it was unveiled then, and it still looks like trash now in real life. It lit up social media for a day or so, and then mostly went quiet, as far as I know. That might have been the end of it till the show drops. However, Hollywood assholes can never, ever keep their fucking mouths shut. Ever. So here comes one of the directors for the show posting this on his Instagram account. The costume might have annoyed me. The casting choice might have annoyed me despite the red hair. However, this shit right here, this makes me not want to go anywhere near this series now. Seriously, Hollywood assholes. Are your stupid circle jerk award shows collapsing not enough of a clue for you all? Shut the fuck up and make good shit. If you get pushback, shut the fuck up and take it, bitches. The next story comes from The Blaze, and showcases a true paragon of old school Hollywood, Denzel Washington. In a recent interview with NBC BLK, about his newest project, a retelling of Macbeth, he said this, quote, "Obviously, we are diverse, so I think that's a great thing," Washington told NBC BLK. A new segment devoted to the African American perspective during a roundtable meeting with other media outlets. But then he added, "You know, in my humble opinion, we ought to be at a place where diversity shouldn't even be mentioned, like it's something special. These young kids, black, white, blue, green, or whatever, are highly talented and qualified, so that's why they're here." Unquote. I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment. I know at one point in the late 90s and early aughts, we were basically there. A mostly colorblind society. All this focus on skin color and gender and every other transitory thing is just the istophobic shit that all these crazy fucks scream about. As long as we have based as fuck people like Denzel, these fucksticks can cope harder. Allison Tolman is a dipshit. Also, as I stated at the beginning, I'm aware that the so-called Lord of the Rings trailer dropped. I watched Az's reaction to it, and that's really all I need to know. I have absolutely zero interest in this series. I'm completely blackpilled on the subject. There's nothing for me, a fan of both the books and the movies in this series, and I have nothing more to say about it. Much like the Wheel of Time. It's not for me, and I'm not remotely going to be giving these things any sort of ratings, even to make content of them. Maybe I'm an idiot, but that's where I'm at. The more ratings these things get, the more the idiots think people watch them. That's my view on the topic. The next story is something that I've seen a couple of videos on in the anime sphere recently. I even actually saw the tweet in question that this article is showcasing. So, we all know people on twatter are morons. Especially supposed anime fans. We all know the ones. The crazy psychos with anime profile pics that screech about basically everything and want to ship all the same-sex characters and make characters like Minoru bi and scream at people for drawing anime characters in a way they don't like. Knuckles is coated black. Fucking morons. Well, as anyone who read ahead in the Demon Slayer manga knew would happen, these same croc-wearing basic bitches are screeching about how Nezuko's demon form looks. Now, this site, Anime Hunch, I've never read them, but they seem like a pretty based site to me, ran a tweet from some shrieking jackass claiming to be a teacher talking about how Nezuko's form and Tengen's wives make his young female students feel uncomfortable. And my, would you look at that ratio. Most of the fans seem to be roasting this jackass not only for his dumbass hot take, but for actually showcasing Demon Slayer to kids that are literally prepubescent. Personally, I watched all kinds of shit when I was a kid, and I'm perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Sorry, glitch. However, we all know this dipshit was just using these kids, if they even exist, as a shield to cover up the sheer idiocy of his take. She's literally a child. I'll say this one more time for the helmet wearers talking stupid ass shit like this in the audience. She's literally a cartoon. A drawing. You're figuratively a dumbass. I'm not even going to go into the physics of Nezuko's clothes getting smaller because she got bigger. I'm just going to call you a dumbass and move on with my day. Dumbass. Finally, our last story for the week is yet more sad news out of the celebrity world. Last night on January 20th, the legend Meat Loaf died. The cause is still unknown, though that doesn't stop the moronic mainstream media and idiots on twatter from their, as of yet, baseless assertions. As you can see here, that paragon of truthful reporting, The Sun, is asserting that Meat Loaf died of COVID, which they're in turn basing on assertions put forth by TMZ. We all know how amazing and accurate TMZ is in their reporting. Yeah, I remember a certain clip of a certain Johnny Depp as well. Then you have this moron on twatter getting her information from the Daily Beast. Fuck me. Just so many shining beacons of great urinalism. It's being reported that he actually did have COVID when he died. However, there has been zero confirmation of this. Not only that, but even if the disease were the cause of death, Meat Loaf had several comorbidities as well, up to and including asthma. Not only that, the dude was 74. However, it turns out that Meat Loaf was an outspoken opponent of lockdowns and mandates. I'm detecting a political spin here, Sherlock. That being said, Meat Loaf was an amazing singer. My mom and dad both actually had Bat Out of Hell on vinyl, so that record is legit in the background of some of my earliest memories. Meat Loaf was obviously a legitimate anti-establishment, anti-authoritarian voice in the world, a true rocker. His legacy is long and amazing. I'm sure that's not the first time he's heard that. Regardless of how he may have passed, he went on his feet with a giant fuck you to the authoritarians. He will be sorely missed. So, on that note, my friends, we've reached the end of this segment. As always, I encourage you to check out these stories for yourself. Fill your head with knowledge and make up your own minds. These are just my opinions. Form your own. Either way, tell me what you thought in that handy section down below. While you're down there, give those nice buttons a tickle. I appreciate it. Thank you, and have a very good weekend. Lates.